Hi, all. Happy Saturday. Here we are, almost at the last day of March, and chances are I'm not going to be making another video for before the end of March. So I wanted to shout out to Aunt Wandy, and I'll tag you in the description for this video. You are the winner of the free session this month. So that number one. And then number two, Fire in the Shire. I read your bio and you said something specifically about wanting to learn biofield tuning, which, as it happens, is a modality that my husband uses. And so he has agreed to gift you a session. So I'm going to tag you too. So we're giving 2 sessions away this month, one with me and one with Travis. And I encourage you, if you're watching this video on a platform other than YouTube, subscribe to YouTube and then comment on the videos, because I can't see everybody that subscribes. If you have your subscriptions private, I can't necessarily see if you're subscribing, but we're choosing from the comments. So my intention is to continue this as long as it makes sense to do it, right? And I'm really looking forward to holding space for someone new every month. This month in particular has been a pretty crunchy month. A lot of stuff coming up around ancestors, and I've been working really diligently to ascertain what it is. How exactly are the ancestors getting trapped? Like, why aren't ancestors crossing, or why don't they cross? And then how to remedy that. And I haven't quite worked out what I'm going to do yet, but I am going to do some kind of webinar where I will specifically hold space for folks to work with the ancestral energies, let's put it that way. And more on that later. I actually did a podcast about a week ago, and where I went into depth on how this came about. And with me, when I'm making these videos, I am calling attention to what's coming up in the collective. And the reason I know what's coming up in the collective is because I do so many sessions. And when I see a pattern, I know that this is something that's coming up for a lot of folks, not just my clients, not just me. And I have spent quite a bit of March being blocked and interfered with. And the beauty about being blocked and interfered with is that I'm always gifted some new tool. And I was gifted several this month, and I'm going to share one with you today that was really profound. It was profound in its ability to clear, and so amazingly simple. And what happened is I took a trip up north, about an hour 20 north of us here, and on my way back, and it was just me, on my way back, at the beginning of the trip, it's kind of a long country road, a curvy road, back into the mountains where we live. And at the beginning of the trip, I had this thought come up that I knew wasn't mine. I saw this really beautiful bell, almost like a Liberty Bell, this huge bell on the side of the road, and admired it. And my next thought was, it'd be so easy to take that. And I knew that wasn't my thought. And this is before I cleared ancestors, by the way. I know it wasn't my thought. But I had this thought come up, and when I knew it wasn't mine, I said, Spirit, there's a part of me that just thought about taking that bell. And I released this part of me now to the care of Spirit. And as soon as I did that, I released. And what does that look like? What does it look like when you're releasing energy? You will yawn. Sometimes you'll cry, you'll sneeze, you'll cough. Some people burp. Some people do other things I'm not going to mention, but there's always a little clue when you're releasing. And so for the next hour 10 on the way home, I just continued with that. I allowed whatever wanted to come up in my field to come up, and then I offered it to Spirit. Spirit, there's a part of me that's still embarrassed about falling in front of the whole school when I was 5 years old, and I release her now to the care of Spirit. There's a part of me that is afraid to drive home alone through these curvy mountain roads, which is not me. I am a road tripper. I love long drives, especially through beautiful country roads and mountain roads, right? So I knew these were coming up and were not mine. And so by identifying what's coming up, hey, I see this thing and it's not mine. And I ask you now, I release it to your care. This is the work. When you hear people talking about, spiritual bypassing or the work, this is the work. This is such an easy way to do the work too. So I did this for the entire trip home. And when I got to our place and I got to the gate, I was so clear and so expansive. It was amazing. And so I wanted to share that with you. And before I get into all of the stuff on the ancestors, because this is another video, because it's a lot, and I want to have an idea about how I'm going to hold space in a public way, either on Zoom or a YouTube Live. I'm not really sure yet. But in the meantime, I would encourage you to pray for your ancestors. Pray for your ancestors. Ask that they be filled with unconditional love. Ask that anything connected to them will be filled with unconditional love, because you are connected to your ancestors through your bloodline. And so, and your children, your grandchildren if you have them. So by praying for your ancestors, by praying that they be filled with unconditional love, praying for freedom for them, you will do yourself and them such a huge service. We have been programmed away from praying for our ancestors. I remember as a child, because I was raised, Christian. And I don't mean Christian light. I mean, my mother was an evangelist and a gospel singer. I mean, I was super churched up, right? And I remember hearing this song when I was a little girl and singing it and getting in so much trouble. And it was the funeral march where it says, pray for the dead and the dead will pray for you, right? My mom lost her mind over that. And I was not allowed to sing that song. And why? Because, the religion that I was raised with said that as long as you accepted Christ, you're golden. You accept Christ as your Savior and then you're golden. And I came to a rude awakening on that one when my sister didn't cross. My sister, who died in 2018, didn't cross until 2021. And we didn't just find her. It was her. It was my my Mimi that died, my grandmother, my beloved grandmother that died when I was 8, and so on and so on. And what I realized through this last month in particular, working with the ancestral energy, working with the ancestors particularly, is that we have been programmed away from praying for our ancestors. And this is an important piece. Pray for your ancestors. Pray for your ancestors to have peace. Pray for your ancestors to have freedom. Pray that they be filled with unconditional love. Super important. I'm sending you guys so much love today. I hope this tip, I hope you'll work with it, because it will literally clear programs out of your field. If you have gone through a breakup and there's a part of you obsessing over your ex, Spirit, there's a part of me obsessing over my ex, and I release her now to the care of Spirit. If you are worried about finances, Spirit, there's a part of me that is worried about finances, and I release her now to the care of Spirit. And what this does is it acknowledges what's there and then turns it over to your higher power to work it out. And you know, if you're not comfortable using Spirit, God, Source, whatever you call your higher power works. Folks get kind of caught up on semantics, right? And so your heart knows, your Creator knows who you're talking about when you do this work. And so let me know. And be sure to leave comments if you want to be chosen, because this is how we're choosing. We're choosing, you know, from the comments who to give a session away to every month. And we're excited to do it. So have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.